Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Al Shai Bashem Hakakodah. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect out there. Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, Ye Make Him Twofold More the Child of Hell. And this is from also husband and wife. We left the IUIC cult. So we were listening to the IUIC and Bishop Nate was teaching. And he was kind of going into how you got people that's in the truth that run to Vocab Malone. And I thought he was talking about Kemuel from formerly of the future world of Israel, which is led by Barak Shaw. Remember the beginning, go back to like 09, 08. Yeah, normally had Nate, and then you had the heavier set brother. And I remember him way back at the main school. He goes way back. So they got together, and they both started. They were equal in rank. First they were brothers, then they started calling themselves elders because we were being called elders. People calling us elders, and then they said, "You guys going around calling yourself elders? That's wicked." Then all of a sudden they became elders. But anyway, he left. They broke up because of the situation between their wives. Bishop Nate's wife had said something to Barak Shaw's wife, and it got back to Bishop Nate. So he got mad at Barak Shaw's wife and said, "You got to apologize for putting it out there or whatever." But his wife was the one that told her in the first place. That goes way back, and that happens. You know, this is why you don't have any women involved in, in any of your affairs. You see, we teach when we get together. And if we had a place to go to, the only ones that would be able to come are the men. Women would have to stay home. As the Apostle Paul said, even though he had women in the congregation, he said, "Let your women learn at home." So what was he saying? Don't say nothing, ask your husband. Well, it says ask your husband at home. So anyway, so now I see why. This was last night that I came across this video, and I had immediately called Apostle Gabar. I called Bishop Sakaran, and I said put it on speaker so Apostle Gabar could hear it. And I said, "Oh, this is why he was saying what he was saying." And he's all upset because it was a husband and wife team that left the IUIC, and they went to. Well, they left. He'll tell you that they left. You really got to watch it from the beginning. I'm just going to start from almost 17, and then I may come back. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, let me just start it from around here. So you're at about the 17-minute mark. And he said that he got into this in 2011, and he left in 2019. So we're talking 8 years. And she came in, and they met each other when they both came to IUIC. He knew that her family, or whatever the case may be, they were like conscious people, the family. And you'll hear it all in the video. And anyway, let me just go ahead and just play it. And like I said, I may come back, but I'm starting at about the 17-minute mark. Now, when you watch this video, and this is why I read this scripture. I'm going to read the whole verse. Okay, it says, "Woe unto scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land." That means you go all over the world You're the only group that does that, to make one proselyte. Proselyte is a newcomer that happens to be an Israelite. You got Christians that say, oh, that's talking about another nation that comes in. Because remember, they were not no, you had Israelites. Actually, you did have Israelites, because the Pharisees brought in proselytes. Wasn't talking about other nations. It was talking about Israelites out there to pretty much join their organization, which is the Pharisees, scribes, and so forth. Proselyte, which means newcomer. And when he is made, ye make him twofold a child of hell than yourselves. You make him twofold a child of hell, then, you put hell on him. You put let me read the 16th verse. You know what I'm going to do? Let me go to the blue letter. It's easier that way. I'm going to pick up a couple of words. And you have spies, whether they be local law enforcement, federal agents, spies in general, and all of the camps, mainly in New York, but all the camps, all the bigger camps, GMS camps, you have spies in there. Whether they be feds, whether it be local law enforcement, whatever the case may be, you have spies. So you got to be mindful of getting too, rubbing shoulders too much. See, when we first set up this thing, you had a lot of brothers from different states and even outside of the country come up, and they used to come to my place, and then they would go stay at, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ramlab, or whatever. They would put them up, and I had to kind of stop that. Now, you got the leadership of these various camps, like the top elders that go back to like 08, whatever. They started listening in 07, 08. When they came, that's why I said when you come out there, you come out with your head guy, the second in command, maybe possibly the third in command, and maybe the fourth. But they got to be guys that was in it from the beginning. But then again, they could be spies too. The spies could come in from the beginning. So we had to stop that, So now when they come out, they got to stay in Airbnbs or hotels or whatever because of that thing. But like I said, the brothers that are, that came in 08 in the beginning, and they're super diligent. You don't got to check over them. That's a different story. But like I said, this thing has become global. It had actually become this Hebrew Israelite thing has become the former One West thing has become global back in 2009, and this is how many years? We're talking 7 years before Vocab Malone even came on the scene. He came on the scene in 2016. And he got involved in it, and he said he was sent. There's a video where he said he was sent. He wasn't sent. He didn't mention Israel, but he kind of out there. He's like the scribes and the Pharisees, all wrapped into one man, to infiltrate, get whatever information. He's an expert on the various. He can tell you about IUIC. He don't got to look at a book. He can say the leader GMS is Tahar and the second command and this, that, and other, and they have schools here and they have X amount of schools. So I mean, if he could do that, spies could do that as well. And you men that are spies that are sent, and you really don't believe in this, but you pretending. The most Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has a special place in hell for you. And when I say hell, I'm talking about the grave. You're not going to burn in hell. That's a Roman Catholic doctrine that I don't know. I don't understand why people from the IUIC, when he started teaching the hell doctrine 2.5 to 3 years ago, that people didn't protest against it and get up because they're under a zombie spell. So let me see. Let me go to Matthew. All right, Matthew 23. Okay. Give me a second. I don't know if it's in this scripture right here. Okay. Here we go. Ye blind guys which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. A big major thing that you should be concerned about. You're not concerned about it. When it means swallow a camel, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. Let me swallow it. Strain at a gnat, meaning a gnat is a little thing, and you're scrutinizing that little thing. A brother does something, the littlest thing, you're going to get on him. Right. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye make clean the outside of the cup, and you may have these pristine garments, and of the platter, but within they are full of extortion and excess, extortion. Thou blind Pharisees, cleanse first that which is within the cup and platter, that the outside of them may be clean also. Right, it goes into the sepulcher. It's beautiful on the outside, but inside the dead men's bones. You wear the kung fu fringes. And let me come over here. Okay, I want to go to the commentary just to see what they say. And we'll go into it. We're going to analyze this. And when you go to Galatians 2, they speak about spies. So if it's the scripture, that means it's happening. You're a part of this fold that goes back to during the time of the Messiah. Okay, so let me do this. Commentary. There's plenty of commentaries, but I'm used to going to this one. This is a commentary. Okay, go about traverse the word is used of the Lord's circuits. Literally one who approaches, hence worship. Hebrews 10, a convert. The Pharisees, St. Paul carried. Let me do this. And enter snow zeal. I'm trying to see how they break down hell. Okay, conversion is recorded of whole tribes in Arabia. Right, you travel. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye can pass sea and land, meaning you go out of Jerusalem, Palestine, and you go to these different countries, right? And Paul did that, and land to make one proselyte, a newcomer. And when he is made, ye make him twofold more the child of hell. You accept them in with open arms, and you put burdens on them. And the guy and the woman, husband and wife, but the husband, he's gonna say that. He said, you got to do this, you got to do that. You know, you lay a burden on them. Because when you come into this truth, the scripture said, let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. What does that mean? You can't force, we're going to check on you to see if you studying, and we're going to constantly, you know, when you come in and you want to learn, we kind of put tests to see where you're going and how we can set up rank, and you're going to be over this guy because you know the scriptures a lot quicker than this brother. Y'all came in at the same time. But you can't force this truth down somebody's throat. If you see they can't get it, maybe they're not one of the elect. Because who are we looking for? We're looking for the elect. I don't have to say, well, let me go check GMS Dallas to see if they're going out there. No, I don't got to do that. They do it. And that's I just use them as an example. Go out into the west, to Cali. You got more than one camp out there. And they'll come up on the what do you call it? They'll come up in an algorithm. You know, Chicago. I don't gotta say, well, let me check GMS Chicago. No, they do what they do. They do videos. They'll get together on Sunday and they'll do a video, like a two hour and change video. Then you have the leaders that's doing videos, and all of you supposed to be doing videos. If you've been in this thing for a number of years, you don't say, oh, my leader's going to do all the videos. No. I always bring out these two precepts. Paul made the statement and Peter made the statement that you all show the same diligence. So don't say, oh, my leader, my top three leaders above me, they do all the videos. I just come around on Saturdays or whatever. And the rest of the week, I just do what no. You're supposed to be constantly doing. We're in the home stretch. Apostle Paul said, fight I. Right? He said, fight I. I'm just going to put that phrase in and see it's somewhere in either 1st or 2nd Corinthians. Let me do it this way. So, fight. I think it's that way. Fight I. Let's see what comes up. Okay, here we go. I should have known it was 9th chapter. That's a beautiful chapter. 1 Corinthians 9, verse 26. Therefore, so run. I'm going to open it up. Not as uncertainly. So when you come into this truth, guys they'll do 5 years and fall out and realize that wasn't the truth. Well, wait a minute. You ran and you wasn't fully persuaded in your mind. So you were not certain about this truth. Now the right thing for this brother right here to do was go out and start a camp. He saw the corruption or whatever. He didn't agree. There's certain breakdowns. He didn't agree with the hell thing. So his job is to go out on the streets by himself. And if you meet certain brothers, you build up a school. Now, one thing I got to say about Hakar and Deacon Hakar, Priest Hakar, and Hassad. Hassad was kicked out. I don't know the backstory. He kind of mentioned it, but the bottom line, he was kicked out by the leader, which was Al-Azhar, which they were close because he was pretty much the reader for Al-Azhar, so he kicked him out. I forget the whole reason behind it. And then at the same time, Deacon Dakar left, and they were close to each other, and they set up a whole new thing, Genesis. So the two heads of Genesis are the two individuals that I mentioned, Hassad and Dakar. So they just kept going. Although they don't have the full truth, they have 95+% of the truth, but they set up their own thing and they just kept going like they never left the truth. So you got a lot of these guys that might be a part of the IUIC, I was using it for an example, and they leave and they'll go back to being a Christian. Kemuel, the last video, or next to the last video that Vocab did, was this guy that fell out of, that left Future World of Israel, and now he's a Christian. He's like a Christian missionary. So where did he go back to? Well, we'll see. I hadn't seen the whole video. This is going to be a little long, but we're analyzing things. And everything that we were saying in the beginning is happening. We said certain guys are going to fall off. Certain guys are going to run back to Christianity. 2 Peter 2 verse 20 on down. This is the 22nd verse. Dog going back to its vomit. So this is not surprise. Now, I don't know why Bishop Nate would get mad at them leaving. The scriptures say some of them are going to leave. You even read it in, I believe that's Second Corinthians 11. It said, perils among my countrymen. People are going to leave. But if you notice, these people left, and you had the thing in Kenya where they got attacked by Kenya, the people in Kenya, but Nairobi, Kenya. And what else happened? There was something, in, was it France or one of them African countries? Oh, the French government officially kick y'all out of France, meaning they no longer recognize you, and if you go on the streets, they can arrest you for hate speech. France is different from America. You can't take France to the Supreme Court of the United States. It's outside of their jurisdiction. And the reason why you can say it, the reason why in the Constitution you have the freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly, to redress the government for grievances, meaning you can sue the government, you can come against the government in the courts. If a police violate you, arrest you, falsely arrest you, well, they're part of the government. The feds take you in, that's part of, you can take them to court because they're not following the Constitution. So part of the Constitution is that we have the right to free speech. In France, you don't have the right to free speech. Maybe you can speak, but there's certain things you can't say. If they deem you a hate group, hey, they can lock you up, tear up all your paperwork. Now in America, you can be a hate, KKK, these various different Edomite, Europeans that are against the neo-Nazis. You can have that. You can have witch covens. So if they say, oh, you Israelites can't speak because you're a hate group, well, you got to deal with it. You can teach hate, and we're not a hate group. We're a love group. We love our people. We love the Most High and His beloved Son. So let me come back over here. So it says, ye goes from sea to land to get one proselyte, a new covenant, newcomer. Matter of fact, let me do this. A newcomer. Actually, I said I was going to open this up. I'm a little all over the place. Matter of fact, I'm in the 26th verse. Paul's use of liberty. See, when Paul received this truth, he ran with it, man. He ran with it. So in like the Church of Corinth, they didn't want to pay him. They didn't want to help him out financially. And he said, well, you don't have to. I'm going to still teach y'all. He says, you're not going to make my glory void. That's why here in GMS, you can watch all the YouTube videos. There's no, you got to be a member and you got to go to Patreon and watch these videos. No, whatever videos we teach, no matter how deep we go, we're just going to put it out there. People want to give, they give. People don't want to give, they don't give. You can watch all the videos and not required to give a penny. Okay, let me do this. So that's what Paul said. As a matter of fact, let me go to that. Because this does become a full-time job. Spirit Army, I'm going to do a video later. This might be a 2-hour video, 2-hour plus video. Last week I did almost 4-hour video. So I'm doing a video now, Spirits Army. A couple hours from now, I'll do another video. I might do a couple of short videos. And there's time where you got to put your notes together. I didn't put no notes together on this, but there's times where I said, well, let me put some notes together to put these precepts in order. So that might take an hour. You might get a whole bunch of precepts. And you're getting your research, your material together. Let me get a map of Corinth, and let me get a map of this. Let me go to Google and get some history on this character. So this is not a thing where you turn on the computer and all of a sudden the Spirit just feeds you. You know, you gotta study. So if I put together 3 videos, a 2-hour video, an hour and a change video, 15-minute video, 3 15-minute videos, the getting ready for the video, even thinking on it, meditating on it. Sometimes the Spirit ain't on you, well, you don't got a topic, and you got to watch video for 2 hours until you come across a video that, you know, sparks your mind to, oh, I'm going to do a video on that. But mostly we analyze different videos. And like I said, you guys are not diligent, that are not really in this thing, that's trying to figure out what you got to do. Some of you guys, we got one brother that's disenchanted now. He's been diligent for a number of years, young brother, and he's disenchanted because I spoke to his so-called brother that's close to him, and he said the brother's kind of like, you know, he ain't like he used to be. So, I mean, if that happens, eventually they're going to leave or they're going to get kicked out or whatever the case may be. And the ones of you that fall off and can't see it, like, give me a second. Let me find this again. He was never of the elect. Because if he was, he would have left and he would have started his own thing. So all that stuff that they learned about Israel, they kind of threw it back, like we ain't Israelites. The guy from Foy, the same thing. He left Future World of Israel, then he followed a Christian, and he praised Abu and them, and now he's working with them. So you were never of the elect. If it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. So they, as it stands, they're not of the elect. And then this demon right here took advantage of that. So let me come back over here. I'm sorry. I want to read the whole thing. Okay, I want to read the whole thing, but I don't. It's the 5th verse. Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the Lord and Cephas? The brethren of the Lord are James. You had 2 Jameses, and you had 2 Judes. The book of Jude was written by the actual biological brother to the Lord. So Yahushua's 2 brothers had wives. And Peter had a wife. Doesn't say whether they had children or not, but they had wives. So at least 3 of them had wives. Or Ione and Barnabas, have not we power to forbear working? What does that mean? Have not we power to not work in a job that y'all supposed to supply to us because we're the main teachers? That's what Paul is saying. So when somebody says, you ain't supposed to be taking money from the people. Well, the Apostle Paul said that. It says, who goeth a warfare anytime, because when we do this thing, when we out on the highways, anything can happen out there, right? IUIC proved that by going to Kenya. The reason why that happened, because they had no business being in Kenya. The focus is here in America. And I read that in Jeremiah chapter 3, where it said, and I'll go to that, where it says, it mentions the North. It's talking about North America. And then it says the uttermost part of the earth in Acts 1. So it's pinpointing where you're supposed to focus this gospel, which is here in America. But then you got the YouTube, you got the web, which would put it out there globally. Like Nate said, oh, you got to go to them face to face. You got to tell them face to face. You got to check up on them. You got to physically check up on them. Well, you only got, you claim you have 10,000 people. How you gonna? My guess is that there's 9 billion people on the planet. I would say 4 billion of them are Israelites. That a lot of them look like Edomites, Moabites, that look like all the nations. Speckled bird, Jeremiah 12:9. So how can 10,000 men go face to face with 4 billion people? Most High didn't say that. You got to get it to everybody. You got to get to all the Israelites. You're going to have Israelites that look like straight up Moabites. So how do you know whether you speaking to an actual Israel? You're going to have dark-skinned, woolly-haired people that are actually Edomites. Or who feedeth the flock and eateth not of the milk of the flock? Say I these things as a man, or saith not the law the same also? Because the priests were paid. They didn't have a side job. For it is written in the law of Moses, muzzle not the rock, oxes treadeth out the corn. You got the oxes working, you got to take care of the oxes and feed the oxes, right? Or saith thou the sake of doubt written in ploweth and plowing, if ye have sown, right. If we, this is Paul speaking, if we have sown unto you spiritual things, meaning the mysteries of these scriptures, because the scriptures are a mystery. That's why vocab can't get it, because it's a mystery. It's the Holy Spirit got to open up this thing in your mind. Is it a great thing? We shall reap your carnal things. Whether it be money and tithes, money, silver and gold are part of the tithes. How do we know that? When Titus raided the temple, what did they take? They took the gold and silver. They didn't take wheat and stuff. They took the gold and silver. So were the priests gold, silver dealers? No. Part of the tithes. The money changers, when they came from different areas of the world, remember when the Lord whipped the money changers? Because they were making money. They were dealing in money. When you came 3 times in a year, Deuteronomy 16:16, when you come not empty-handed, right? And come not empty-handed to the men. So did they bring cattle with them and wheat? No. They brought money. And they had to switch their money over to the shekel, to the Hebrew shekel, to give it to the priests. And then what these money changers would do, which are like priests and so forth, they would up the price. It was called price gouging. They would up the price to buy doves. So that's why Yahushua whipped them, because they were in a holy place, ripping the people off inside of a holy place. Is it a great thing if we shall reap your carnal things? It's a day. Let me go right here. Do ye not know that they which minister about holy things, when we minister about holy things, meaning we're breaking down the mysteries of the scriptures to you, live of the things of the temple. So when they raid the temple, the treasury, which is part of the temple, what was in the temple? Silver and gold. So it says, if we're teaching you spiritual things, we got to get paid in physical things, silver and gold. And when Abraham, it says in Genesis 13, Abraham was rich in cattle, and of course he had land, and he said silver and gold. Melchizedek, the first high priest, was in the scripture, Paul says he was Judite, which is that was Yahushai. Melchizedek is Yahushai. The first tithes that was given, and the word tithe means a tenth part of something, of anything. The 10th part was given, but Abraham was given to Melchizedek. So what did that represent? That Melchizedek was over Abraham. That was Yahushai. Paul explains it. How did Paul know it? Because Yahushai taught him. Remember, Yahushai was teaching him through the Spirit. That's why the Apostle Peter said that, in not too many words, the Apostle Paul is deep. He brings out stuff that goes over a lot of people's head. So who was teaching him? Yahushai himself. So Abraham, that was rich in gold and silver and land and cattle, it said he gave a 10th part of all that he had. Did he have gold? Yes, plenty of gold. Did he have silver? Yes, plenty of silver. Did he have land? Yes, plenty of land. And he offered that to Melchizedek. Whatever you need, 10% is yours. So when you got, Bishop Nate talking about, they didn't deal with money, they dealt with cattle, so you guys are going, well, but he'll say, keep the laws, but he doesn't understand that's in the law, that they dealt with silver and gold. Even so have the Lord of Kairos ordained that they which preach the gospel should live of the gospel, meaning you pushing this gospel out like we're doing. Like I said, a lot of you people ask questions that you don't have the answers to. We're the ones that got to do the research to give you the answers. So anyway, let me come back over here. I'm sorry, let me come back over. Let me come down here. Know ye not that they which run in a race run all? There's no breaks in this thing, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the masteries is temperate in all things. This is your first priority. This goes before your wife, before your children, before anything, right? This is your first priority in life when you come into this truth. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, like an actual crown or a medal. But we an incorruptible. The incorruptible crown is what? The kingdom of heaven. And we are going to get actual crowns. I therefore so run. Not as uncertainly. Paul wasn't running a race, and I don't know if this is, you question it. No, we don't question nothing. We know that this place is going to be destroyed in Armageddon. We know that this place is going to be destroyed. We know we're going to be delivered from these. If we're the elect, we're going to be beamed up. Says the righteous shall scarcely make it. So fight I. What kind of fight? A spiritual fight. Not as one that beateth the air. You got guys that put a strong 5 years, they're diligent, then all of a sudden they fall out. It might be over a girl, it might be over the job. Their boss might have seen them, and the boss fired them. Well, guess what? There's other jobs out there. What if your job goes out of business? What are you going to do then? But I kept, like this one guy, I'm not going to mention his name. Y'all know him. I said, why ain't you out there on the highways and the byways? He said, because my boss, I got caught out there. My boss saw me two different occasions. I got lost jobs for that. I said, well, fuck that, brother. There's another job out there. But I keep under my body and bring it unto subjection, meaning Paul was a stoic. The ones of you that stay with this thing and you endure to the end, what does it mean to endure? You become a stoic. Hey, you got brothers that come in, yeah, brother, we can have more than one wife. I got 5. Remember the brother had 5 wives? And he was following, he wasn't a part of GMS, but he was following GMS, he following other camps and he would show his wives there. And what wound up happening, he wound up killing one of the wives and one of the, I think, one of his wife's sons. And then Vocab jumped on and said, see, he's part of GMS. No, he wasn't a part of GMS. And I questioned, and when I saw him with the wives, I said, this guy's not diligent. He got the wives, and there's nothing wrong with that if you got 5 right, but I guarantee you he ain't on the highway and the byways pushing it. I guarantee you he doesn't fully understand what this gospel's all about. And ultimately, he wound up he killed the baby because he said the baby got Mo demons on him. And a baby under the age of 12 is not under the law. So you can't say, oh, he got a Mo demon, I'm going to kill him. So he came in his way, man. He didn't come in through the straight gate. But I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. That means a stoic. Now, P. Diddy, he's definitely not a stoic. He's an Epicurean. Now, they're saying those freak offs that he does, that he, calls in, that's worship to Bacchus, Bacchanal, which really goes back to Baal PR. You have sex to the god Bacchanal, or Bacchus, which goes back to the Maccabees, but it goes even before that. And you got, in order for you to be a part of this party and to pay homage to that god, you got to have sex, you got to have orgies, and so forth. So really, he's a straight up demon, right? Now this man is definitely not a stoic. He's an Epicurean. An Epicurean likes to have, and like Floyd. Floyd is an Epicurean. He likes spending money. He likes buying the finest things. He likes to show it off. They're saying that he's bankrupt. He's saying he's not. But he's totally, Floyd Mayweather is totally, he's balanced in the ring, but he's totally unbalanced in life. With all that money he got, what the scriptures say about money? It says, but I'm not going to go to it. He said, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection. I was a stoic, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. What does it mean, I myself should be a castaway? You done preach to a lot of people, nearing the truth, then you fall off. That's a damn shame. You got people that the Most High use you to bring people in, and they become diligent to this thing, and then you fall off. How does that thing work? So now let's come back over here. So this is where it says, compare sea and land to get one proselyte, and when you have received him, got him into the truth, you have made him twofold a child of hell. You put burdens on him. He's just commanded to do this. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to come over here. And Comfy did that. Tazadakia, he had them people, they had to come to the school. They had to be in the school all day. Then they had to do certain things. And, this is a free thing. You do. Hey, I'm not going to get on the phone and say, one of the apostles from whatever state, I'm going to say, look, I want you to only do videos at 12 noon. Yeah, but I got work. I said, nope, you got to quit that. That's stupid. You do the videos when you get the time to do it. It says that in latter days, to conversions or proselytes is recorded of the whole tribes in Arabia. So you had Israelites that were living, remember they were scattered, right? you had Israelites that knew that they were Israelites living in Arabia, outside of Israel, and on the shores of the Caspian. That was further north. Also, it appears from the Acts that the number of proselytes, newcomers in Asia Minor, that's north of Jerusalem, and in like places like Turkey, right? And you have Corinth, right? And in Greece, Corinth is in Greece. You got Ephesus. You got Thessalonica. You got the Colossians, which is Colossus, was considerable, and in the latter days, Solomon Marcor, a Portuguese Jew, that's an individual, Portuguese Jew, an Israelite that was living in Portugal. So you got a lot of Israelites that the Portuguese people, you got Israelites among them. Spain, you got Israelites among them. Was burnt to death under Charles V on the charge of proselytizing. So they killed this guy. I got to go into that history. Probably the proselytism in the text is connected with the charge of rapacity, the Pharisees seeking to convert wealthy Gentiles, convert wealthy Gentiles over whom they obtain influences. So people that had money, we got to get him. We're going to get money out of him. It's a numbers game. The more people you get, the more money you get. Song of Solomon of Gehenna. Right. Child of hell. Gehenna is a place where it was a constant fire. It was a valley. Gehenna. What is it? Valley. What is it? Valley of Hinnom. Valley of Hinnom. There's a Greek way of saying that. So that's talking about destruction, right? You put hell on them. Twofold more the child of hell than themselves, in accordance with a tendency in new converts to extract the eternal points of the creed which they adopt. Gentiles, which are Israelites, proselytes, which are Israelites, strain to the utmost the worst features of Phariseeism. In other words, you drain them for their money. See how much money you can get. What is the guy? He got a business. What kind of business he got? Oh, he sells jewelry. Oh, he got a place in the mall. What kind of money? Find out what kind of money he's making. Oh, he makes $25,000 a week. Bring home. Oh, we got to give him a rank. We got to get some of that money. Just giving you an example. Not saying that there's an actual group that's doing that, but the more people you have, the bigger number of people, the more money you're gonna get. But that is talking about the hell that they put on them. Twofold, the child of hell. They put that burden on them, man. You got to do this. You got to be over here. You got to do this. So now let me come back over here. Okay. Let me come back over here. I may have to come back. So this is where this is almost 17, about 17.
Meeting people around my age, and I guess we probably bonded because of.
Yeah, and what they do is they love bomb you. You can look that word up, love bomb. Like cults do that. Hey, there was some brothers that came up, brothers that came from out of states. I'll just say that. Every once in a while you get brothers that come from out of state. And we, shalom, salute, and that's it. All right, hey, brother, hey, shalom, may the force be with you. So whatever the case may be. We don't love bomb nobody. We don't love bomb nobody. And Gina Blue even said that. They said when you come in, they love bomb you. And then they put hell on you. Love bomb, meaning.
Here's the definition of love bomb. Lavish, someone, with attention or affection, especially in order to influence or manipulate them.
Ooh! You're being smothered with affection and attention. You're being love bombed. Love bombing is a type of non-physical violence. Ooh! This is what Gina Blue said. He said, when you first come, she said, when you first come in, they love bomb you. Oh, sister, welcome to the face. Oh, my goodness. Oh, shalom, brother. Hey, what's happening, brother? You fish? Let's go out fishing this Sunday. Or whatever the case may be. And one that frequently leads to further abuse. And they do that in the prison system. They give you a honey, yeah, I'm going to give you a honey bun. I'll give you a Lucy. I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that. And all of a sudden, he expects you to bend over. Both physical and non-physical. It can be extravagant gestures, but it can also look like regular and constant gifts. That's love bombing. So according to Gina Blue, they love bomb you. You know, you feel welcome. But then when you get in there, then they put the burdens on your ass. So let's come over here.
Like we were all going through the same thing, trying to be good sisters and follow the law.
Did you feel like you never matched up? Did you have a sense of anxiety at all? Almost like, did you ever feel like you could never quite get there with expectations?
So I would say yes, especially when Kevin became an officer. So there's a lot of pressure put on officers' wives. They'll call us leadership wives. We have to sit in the front row. We're expected to be like the ultimate example. So when one of us messed up or did something that they didn't approve of, it was kind of a big thing.
Right. Yeah. When to a certain extent, that's understandable. Look, IUIC thinks that we Christian apologists hate. We don't hate IUIC. This is not what it's about. Now, the thing is, what IUIC does is what a lot of groups do. They teach their members, if someone comes against you, it's because they hate you, or they're of the devil, or whatever the thing is. It's not that. It's just simply not that. We care about people's souls, and this is.
You care about people. What about them? When you came to New York, why didn't you go down to Christopher Street with them Moes? Don't they go? Ain't you care? Don't you care about them? What about the Muslims? What about the Buddhists? You could have set up in New York anywhere in the city and just started teaching the gospel, according to you. And but you came to us knowing full well we wasn't going to accept your gospel. Now, what does it say in Matthew? It's also in Luke, but it's in Matthew 3. When the wicked scribes and Pharisees came to see John the Baptist, and they said that they told him that we were sent. He said, matter of fact, let me go to that. I just want to read it word for word. Matthew 3. I believe that's 7. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and the Sadducees, wicked men, come to the baptism, he said unto them, O ye generation of vipers, who have warned you to flee from the wrath to come? So he knew that these guys wasn't right. The Spirit told him these guys ain't right. So he said, you ain't invited to this baptism. So shouldn't Vocab take that example? Because he been coming to us since 2016. Here it is, it's almost 10 years, and we still ain't accepting his gospel. So why do you keep trying to get us? Why you keep focused? Because you were sent. It's not about you. I just care about the Israelites. No, you working, but you ain't gonna say it. But you working with elite people above, behind the scenes. Because the scriptures, there's many scriptures that say that. Shake the dust off thy feet. We never accepted your peace. So the scriptures say, you take your peace back and shake the dust off your feet. So you should have shook the dust off your feet back in 2016. You know, if somebody from witchcraft left the convent and he ain't gonna put him on. His whole focus is on not even the Israelites, the One West Israelites. You know why? Because the elite that sent him know that's we have the truth. Not the IOG, not the GOCC, not these other Israelite groups, not these little pop-up Israelite groups that watch some of the videos and say, I'm going to be an Israelite now. They'll call on Yahweh, they'll get the sign, or they'll take our sign, and they don't even know how to break down this 12 tribe sign. Anyway, let's listen. I'm going a little long, please forgive me.
It's a life or death issue. If you're believing a false gospel, then you really don't have a savior. You really don't have salvation. This really matters.
Yeah, because if you come with him, you know what savior they're going to give you? They're going to give you Caesar Borgia. They're going to give you Caesar Borgia. They're going to give you that. What he's going to give you, if you follow up under him, you're becoming a Calvinist. You're becoming a Calvinist. Now, you got many denominations of Christianity. So if they have differences, let's say the truth is with the Calvinists, then the Baptists, the Methodists, they all going to burn in hell because they ain't right. They don't got the 100% truth. Scriptures speak about perfect in Luke. And in many other scriptures, be ye perfect as I am perfect. You have an unction from the Holy One and you know all things. And that ye all speak the same thing. So a Calvinist to a Baptist, they're not speaking the same thing. So according to a Calvinist, all Baptists are going to burn in hell. Which there's no such thing as hell. And he'll maintain, yes, there is such a thing as hell. He doesn't even understand the reincarnation part. So why would anybody follow you? And the scriptures clearly state that this thing is only for the Israelites, and not just the Israelites, the elect of Israel.
And you guys are out here in the streets and in the community teaching people lies, honestly. We understand you may not think it's a lie, but we're showing you that there are people who have left. And I know for a fact there'll be people who watch this who are having thoughts about leaving IUIC. And I'm going to encourage you, leave IUIC. But let me tell you something. Unless you turn to Jesus, you're only going to be making a positive step, but it's not going to be all the steps you need to take. Because really, it's not just about leaving the purple and gold. It's about running to Jesus Christ. And by God's grace,
Jesus Christ is the white man, Caesar Borgia. So you just can't say I'm no longer Israelite. You gotta come to Jesus.
Kevin and Salim have been able to do that. Kevin, life inside IUIC as an officer. Hold on. I got your volume down. I messed up. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure to constantly put in work. A lot of pressure to just teach all of the IUIC protocol.
Give me a second. Go back to Matthews 23. I think the word is burden is in there. How you spell burden? Give me a second. The scribes and Pharisees place burdens on you. Bible. Okay. aside from one. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to the disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore, whatsoever they bid, tell you to do, you observe, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. They'll tell you to keep the laws, they don't keep the laws. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, carried, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. Now, I don't know if Bishop Nate is doing videos every single day. I know he does these Saturday nights and Tuesdays. Was it Tuesday Night Raw, whatever they call it. They do their little thing. They ain't doing this. They ain't doing videos every day. Let me read this in the NLT. And by the way, IUIC now goes to the NLT. Where do you think they got that from? So we don't put burdens on brothers. Brothers in GMS are required to do videos, at least one video every day. My spirit might be on to do a 15-minute video, right? And they're required to come out, the weekend that most people are off. It says, so practice and they'll tell you and follow the examples for that they don't practice what they preach. They crush people with unbearable religious demands and never lift a finger to ease the burden. Everything they do is for show. They coming in on the horse. On their arms, they wear extra wide prayer boxes, which is phylacteries, with scripture verses inside, which they don't do that. They'll tell you where your fringes at. The first thing, my response would be, where's your phylacteries at? And they wear robes with extra long tassels. When they do they put on these Sunday doodads when they do their march. That's all to be seen of men. Okay, so let's come back over here.
And things of that nature. Really, that's what it is. Just put in the work. If you're seen as like a lazy officer or someone who doesn't want to put in the work, they're gonna let you know about it. That's pretty much what I remember as far as life in IUIC. And just not wanting to look weak as a brother, not wanting to be seen as one whose wife runs over him or trucks him. Like if your wife says something to you that brothers would think is out of line, we are expected to check our wives, stuff like that. Check.
But your wives, Paul said, if your wives will learn anything, let them learn at home. Your woman shouldn't be around to see what's going on between you and your woman, all right? So they said, what you doing with your brother? You checking your wife? Cult activity.
Brothers, all of that type stuff. So just a lot of pressure on trying to maintain an image, pretty much.
Well, I appreciate you guys both for your honesty. Real quick to the live chat, thank you every single one of you for being here, whether you're agreeing or not agreeing. Please hit that like button. Thank you, Yandel and Karen Fisher, for the support. Thank you very much. You guys are both appreciated, as well as everyone else. And so, Kevin, it was difficult. Did you ever have a situation where you had to kind of embarrass a man in front of his wife? Or did that ever happen to you? Because I know sometimes that happens. Maybe it didn't. I'm just wondering if you don't.
Let me hear that again.
Fisher for the support. Thank you very much. You guys are both appreciated, as well as everyone else. And so, Kevin, it was difficult. Did you ever have a situation where you had to kind of embarrass a man in front of his wife?
Hmm.
Or did that ever happen to you? Because I know sometimes that happens. Maybe it didn't. I'm just wondering if you don't have to share details.
Nah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. Okay. What were some of your expectations, or did you? I don't know if you said everything. Any other expectations as an officer and as a member?
Well, I know like an expectation that brothers under me at the time would always get on me about is that I didn't travel. And then also brothers over me, they would say, you know, you need to travel more to get more experience.
Now, wait a minute. If it's about traveling, that's not for everybody. Did Peter travel? No. Did John travel? James travel? The two brothers of Yahushua, did they travel? Did Mark? The only one that traveled was the Apostle Paul, because the Spirit got on him. Peter didn't say, okay, Paul, I want you to go here, I want you to go there. The Spirit led him to travel. He said in Romans 11, I am the apostle of the Gentiles, therefore I magnify my office. And Christians will use that to say, see, the Gentiles are Israelites, but I magnify my office as the other nation. No. That means he's going to go further out, outside of Palestine, to teach the people in Asia Minor, to teach people in the lower part of Europe, Corinth, Ephesus, Berea, all these places.
You know, I was young. I was in my 20s. I was real young, inexperienced in life. And they would just tell me, you're young and you got older people in your congregation that you're over. You need to travel, see how things are done. I hardly ever did it. I mean, I didn't make a lot of money. At the time, I didn't even have a car. I was on the city bus. And but you know, they wanted me to travel. They would always get on me about that. So that was something they was really on me about. And I mean, as far as...
What if the Spirit doesn't want you to travel? Like I said, among the apostles, the 13 apostles, Paul, he traveled because the Spirit, he put the Spirit on him to do that. Peter and the rest of them did not travel. As a matter of fact, going to Acts chapter 1, the Lord said they're going to preach in Judea, Jerusalem, and Samaria, and ultimately to the othermost part of the earth, which is over here in America.
As just life in IUIC, it was hard sometimes, you know, trying to keep the Sabbath, like especially in the wintertime when it gets darker faster, getting off work at a particular time, trying to beat the sun. You know, if your check comes on Friday and you get off work late, you trying to beat the sun. You're on the city bus trying to beat the sun, buy groceries, get home, cook real quick, and all of that stuff. Just all the feast days, you know, having to go to the school to fellowship on feast days when you really didn't want to. If you didn't show up to the school to fellowship on feast days, people would ask you, where was you at? Why wasn't you here? And if you
that's cultish type activity.
Didn't have a good enough reason for why you didn't show up, then they would be like, you know, the scriptures say you got to congregate and fellowship on the Sabbath and forsake not the assembling of ourselves together as the manner of some is. And it was definitely a problem. So you wanted to maintain that image, especially as an officer.
That's cultist activity. That's a cult right there. That's a cult.
And also, just as a member in IUIC, that I am a God-fearer, I'm a law keeper. And it was just a lot of trying to maintain an image and a pure righteous and kind of hide the stuff that you're struggling with. It was a lot of that. So that's kind of what I mean by a lot of pressure.
And when you go out of town, leave the country for 2 weeks, you gotta come up with your own money. And if you have a wife that's an unbelieving wife, she's gonna get mad. You gone for 2-3 weeks, and she's by herself, and she kind of depends on you. That's why you say if you got an unbelieving wife, you got to cut her off, which is clearly going against the scriptures.
As well.
I could see, let's say I was an IUIC faithful person and I was going to review this interview. I would say, you see, they couldn't hack it in IUIC. This weak brother, this weak sister. That's why they ran back to the Christian church, because you ain't got to do nothing. It's easy over there. You think they might say something like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I know a lot of them feel the same way that I just expressed, in the same way my wife feels. I know that deep down they
I just say burden. Trying to spell it the best way I know how, but they believe that's right. Okay, I'm gonna do it this way. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. They lay heavy burdens on you. Red letter, Yahushua, if I hit the red letter, be in red. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. They lay heavy burdens on you, right? Burden. Let's look up the word burden in the Greek. A burden, a load, or the freight or lading of a ship. A burdensome right of burdensome rights of the obligation the Messiah lays upon his followers and installs a burden by the way of the contracts of the precepts of the Pharisees, or the orders of the Pharisees, the observance of which was most oppressive, faults of conscience, which oppressed the soul. So this man's soul was being oppressed. Give me a second. So this is the word for burden. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne. Man, get off work, you got to rush home, you got to do it, then you got to come to the class, and you got to show fellowship, and then you got, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. I'm starting to believe that IUIC, that they're the scribes and the Pharisees from 2,000 years ago. And he said, woe unto you also, ye lawyers, leaders, for ye laid men with burdens grievous to be borne, and ye yourself touch not the burdens with one of your fingers. For every man shall bear his own burden. Well, what these guys are doing, they said, I ain't bearing this burden. I'm going to give it to this guy. He's under me in rank.
They feel that way.
They really want to control every aspect of your life. Like, you literally did not get a break. If it wasn't a Sabbath, it was a feast day. If it wasn't a feast day, it was they wanted you to volunteer, stand on the side of the highway and sell water and Gatorade. If it wasn't that,
wait a minute, they got them selling water and Gatorade on the highway. That's cool, and I bet you don't get the money. You're selling water and Gatorade on the highway. That's something new. Okay, you got to be out there for 3 hours. You got to sell water and Gatorade. Make sure you get your ice bucket to make sure it's cold. and they're gonna give you. We got 50 Gatorades and 50 waters, and the waters are Gatorades are $2, waters are $3. So we expect $300 in 4 hours. That shit that the E-Man Issa used to do, the Dr. York used to do. He used to have them motherfuckers selling books and incense and shit, and they would have to give all the money. And if they were short, they got their asses whipped. If this is not a cult, I don't know what a cult is. Let's hear that again. Now, could she be lying?
Life, like you literally did not get a break. If it wasn't a Sabbath, it was a feast day. If it wasn't a feast day, it was they wanted you to volunteer, stand on the side of the highway and sell water and Gatorade. If it wasn't it was a feast day. If it wasn't a feast day, it was they wanted you to volunteer, stand on the side of the highway and sell water and Gatorade. Sabbath, it was a feast day. If it wasn't a feast day, it was they wanted you to volunteer, stand on the side of the highway and sell water and Gatorade. If it wasn't a Sabbath, it was a feast day. If it wasn't a feast day, it was they wanted you to volunteer, stand on the side of the highway and sell water and Gatorade. If it wasn't a Sabbath, it was a feast day. If it wasn't a feast day, it was they wanted you to volunteer, stand on the side of the highway and sell water and Gatorade. If it wasn't a Sabbath, it was a feast day. If it wasn't a feast day, it was they wanted you to volunteer, stand on the side of the highway and sell water and Gatorade.
Why do you think Nate started 2.5, 3 years ago? He started teaching about hell. That's a scare tactic for the weak-minded people. That whole concept of hell is a scare tactic. The Babylonians use it, ancient Babylonians, Roman Catholics use it, the Greeks use it, and now you have Christians that use it. Well, he teaches that there's a hell. And he's happy to hear that. He said, oh, I didn't know that they did that. He got more information. So Nate forced these people out. Both of my parents believe in the doctrine. I'm praying for them every day.
If it wasn't that, they want you to just be around them casually, like at their homes, or it was just always something.
But you two idiots took that shit for 8 years. You dealt with that bullshit for 8 years. Wow.
You know, that's interesting you said about standing on the side of the street selling water and Gatorade. I've only seen that done once, and I live in Phoenix where it gets hot. Only one time did I see IUIC, and it was interesting because that was one of the few times I saw the women outside. Is that like a part? And I feel like they were...
Oh, they got the woman. The woman got to go be out there and sell.
Wearing somewhat different clothes than normal. I don't remember exactly because there was only one time I saw this. What is that? Is that like a regular thing? I thought it was just a random Phoenix thing. The selling is what is that? Fundraisers?
So I can't remember like about the other camps outside of Kentucky, but for us, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was every Sunday. Was it every Sunday, Kevin? Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was every Sunday, and we have.
So all these people making comments are former IUIC members. All eyes are on you, and you feel pressure to be perfect. Perfect in their eyes, according to their standards. This ain't the fat, wicked scribes and Pharisees, bro. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. And we had blue shirts, and they said, fundraise for God.
Yes, that's
we
it.
Fundraise for God.
Okay, see, this is funny because...
Oh, they didn't let the people know what's going on. Fundraise for God. Who's God? Nate. That's why he was on the horse. Watch what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is going to do to the IUIC.
I've only seen this once that I remember at Phoenix. And I could not remember the color of the shirts. They were blue, and it did say that. And I remember whoever I was with. I can't remember. I think we were on our way back from church or something ourselves. And I was in the church, the car with him from church. I was like, I bet most people would think that's a church group. They're going to think that's a church group, and they're doing a fundraiser. They would have no way of knowing that's IUIC. But I only saw it one time. So that's just, what, when the funds get low, or is that a regular expectation? Or at least in Kentucky it was?
Yeah, it was just a regular expectation for all the IUIC camps to do that, and they did it. We did it every Sunday for a good stretch. I can't remember how long. I'm not sure if they still do it, but back then, yeah, that's what we did. Our son was first born around that time, and my wife had him strapped on her. She was wearing him in one of those little pouches on her body, standing out there, in the midst of traffic. You know what I'm saying? So we was kind of.
Wait a minute, man. Are you watching this? Elder, how many elders out there? Elder Karatazar Bar, you watching this? Because I know he's going to do a video on it. Elder Karatazar and Elder Karatazar Bar. Are you watching this? Elder Kazak, are you watching this? Elder Ariala, are you watching this? Elder Mawatazak, the Gadite that thought he was a Judite. I told him he's a Gadite, not a Judite. He got mad at me. That was years ago, but he's a Gadite. Who else? There's so many brothers out there. Priest Shaman, are you watching this? They not only got, I'm figuring they got the men selling the waters. They got the women selling the waters. She had a newborn baby, and she had the baby strapped to her selling fucking waters. And y'all stayed in this thing for 8 goddamn years. Now, does Nate go out there and sell waters? Does Kanai Gabar go out there and sell waters? Does Yawasap go out there and sell waters? Let's go back to Matthew 23. For they themselves, they put upon you heavy burdens. Well, I don't got a babysitter. Well, strap that baby on your back and get your ass out there and sell them Gatorades and them waters. Because you're doing it for God. That's a cult. That's a cult. A religious cult.
Kind of crazy a little bit, but
Yeah.
the IUIC members didn't say anything, and they looked at her, putting in the work with the baby strapped on her, and so.
That ain't right. She's supposed to be nurturing that baby, not have the baby standing up. She just had a baby. She ain't. You get weak when you have it. When you're a woman, you got to build your strength back up. So they got her. They said, "Look, take that baby, strap that baby on your back, like an African, and sell them Gatorades and them waters, man." And I bet you there's a certain quota. That's slavery, man. That's fucking slavery. These motherfuckers are being exposed. See, what we do is we meet the camp, on Saturdays as it stands. Most High will open it up when hell start really coming down on us. We're gonna have to do some things, but as it stands right now, the men are supposed to be making all members of IUIC are supposed to be doing videos every day. I'll say consistency, because brothers do certain things where they might not be, but you can always do a video. So when you grow in it, that's how you grow. You come in this thing to learn. Read Ephesians, one of my favorites, Ephesians 4, verse 11 on down. The Most High set up the apostles, the teachers, and so forth, evangelists, to teach others, to build them up so that they become teachers. You come into this thing to be a teacher. This is not the Mickey Mouse Club where you get the hat with the Mickey Mouse ears and you got the official GMS card, I'm a member, and you do what the hell you want to do. No, it's expected for you to do work. Put in your brick, so as they say. I would never tell, okay, I might start doing that, but I'll have Shaman and them out there, and Palal and them. I'll have them out there selling waters and Gatorades, and they can be selling bottles of liquor too. How about that? Well, my woman's working and I got my baby. I will strap that baby on your back and get your black asses out there and sell them waters and them Gatorades and them bottles of fucking Hennessy. But don't let the cops know that you're selling Hennessy. This is some wicked ass shit. If I came to this shit and they did all this back in the school, I'm out of here. I'm the fuck out of here, bro. I'm out, and 2 weeks later, I'm out this bitch. Hey, one thing about the 7, they ain't put burdens on you. Mo wouldn't do no shit like this.
When I first had my oldest now, who was the first younger, I would do some street evangelism, and he'd be strapped on. It was quite a thing, you know. You're like this, but yeah, okay, fascinating. We have a number of people who looks like they do have family members in IUIC. Jesus is God says both their parents are in the doctrine. Prays for them every day. And Amari Cookie says my cousin is in IUIC in New York City. I pray she gets out. So yeah, we agree with you on that. We do hope that they get out as well. Pretty interesting, pretty fascinating. So since we're kind of talking about the street stuff, tell me about some of the street stuff. So you would teach a class called Camp 101. What kind of things would you teach in Camp 101? Is that every Wednesday, Kevin?
Yeah, so that's every Wednesday. And so who taught it was different IUIC leaders would teach it. At first, it primarily started with like Captain Shem in New York. New York would mainly host it.
Yeah, Captain Shem is a brother. I believe he was a Marine. He's the one that does the cadence when they go marching. He does the cadence. Hi-de, 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 ho. Hi-de, 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 ho. Yeah, in the kingdom of heaven we shall go. In the kingdom of heaven, I'm not a cantor. That's what that is. It's a cantor. It's like singing. That's military. So he's got to be, he got to be former Marine, or one of the Marines are known for that, the cantor. But one thing about Captain Shem, now he looks like one of the Latin tribe. He's actually of the tribe of Judah, but he looked like he could be an Ephraimite or Simeonite. And when he does teach, if you can catch him, he does go into prophecies, which he's got a sincere look in him, you know. So, I hope he's one of the elect.
And then other schools began to host it, and it began to be like a rotation. Like this week would be this city teaching it, and then the next city would teach it. And what are the?
And there's nothing wrong with that. You got brothers that are willing and able to come into this. You're here to put your brick in, so you got to do. It's not like you just come around. You know, what y'all cooking? I mean, y'all having barbecue, let me come around. And you don't see the guy for 6 months until the next, or the high holy days. It's not like church. You know, people in the hood go to their church when somebody die, Easter, somebody get married. Or they might go on Sundays and they'll do, they don't study. So there's nothing wrong with that.
To teach it, you had to be like a certain rank. But basically, the members of the different IUIC branches in the different cities had to gather around the computer or the TV in their home or wherever they fellowship, school. And they had to watch it, and they had to, just watch how to teach on the street, and then they had to practice in their own locations, whatever they were going over. So if they were practicing takedowns, if they were practicing if a person is getting a little aggressive, what to do, if you're getting confounded, different tactics and strategies, we had to practice those and implement those.
It's funny, the takedown thing. I remember I saw a video. And he was a large dude. He was pretty tall, but he was a little zesty, and he was getting mad at IUIC because they were bringing up stuff about homosexuality. And he approached them. Now, he didn't touch him, but he just got next to him and was kind of yelling at him. Man, they moved right away and jumped on this guy. His glasses fell off in the process. He's down on the ground, and it looked just something like the cops would do. The way they had him isolated, it looked just like a cop takedown. They were all had him down, and the guy's like, "Get off me!" I don't know why it's kind of sad, but it was also kind of a funny picture. And the next time I saw something similar like that when they took down ISUPK. They used those same moves in that big old fight in Kansas City. Did you ever watch that fight?
Yeah, I seen that.
Did you recognize Did you recognize the takedown strategies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were both wrong. ISUPK and IUIC for different reasons. IUIC had like 25, 30 men. They were probably out there. I don't know. They claim they were out there before, but I believe ISUPK was out there at certain times and IUIC was out there more than them. So instead of them, like it tells you in that's why you apply the scriptures. It tells you in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Paul said, "Not so many words. Why not take low? Why not take the fault?" That's not in the exact words. I'm not going to go to it, but it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. You know, it says, speaks about bringing a brother to law among the unjust. He said, "Why not take low?" So here you had two camps, and I did notice that you had like four brothers. I believe you had three brothers speaking to ISUPK. Then you had the brother on the camera. So I believe it was four brothers. Matter of fact, I know it was four. And you had about fucking 30 brothers right next to them. But this is what was wicked. The IUIC took their mic and they turned it to the mic, blasting it towards ISUPK, which was wicked. Wicked. Meaning you trying to blast them off the street. The scripture said, "Why not take low?" Just say, "Okay, we're going to close up." Either ISUPK could have did or IUIC. IUIC claims they're righteous in the Lord. Well, the right thing to do is just close up and go someplace else. As a matter of fact, you got like 25, 30 guys. That's like 5 camps right there. You know? And those tactics are police. He said they like the police. Well, you got Nate was he been in police for what was it 2000, 2010. We're talking about more than 10 years. And I think Asaph was a police out of Connecticut, I believe Bridgeport. He was an officer. I think so, not all of them. I don't know how many, but you had police officers at a party, so they know them tactics, you know. Nate can get certain information because police got to get your information. If they get your driver's license, they can say, "I'm NYPD. I need the address of this guy. We got a picture of the guy's license plates, this, that, and the third."
Absolutely.
They're going to change the name. They're going to start calling it the UPK takedown. The Kansas City takedown.
Right.
Okay, sorry. So, Lima, during Class 101.
And really, everybody saw it and everybody's talking about it, and it's fucking embarrassing. Let's say you were there. That's an established spot. ISUPK comes out there. They're there before you. You just move on. You just say, no, we're just going to move. We're going to go a mile away or whatever, 3 blocks away, and we'll set up over there. Now, if the ISUPK follow y'all, then they're being wicked. So it's wicked on both sides to a certain degree. I would say it was more wicked for IUIC because they put the mic, they blasted it on these guys, man.
Camp 101 on Wednesdays. What are you doing?
At home with my babies.
Oh yeah, all right. So you got some time off Wednesday nights. Wednesday night. Okay. That's nice to hear. Now, you were in something called Daughters of Sarah. Tell people who don't know, what's Daughters of Sarah?
So the Daughters of Sarah is really just like we wouldn't meet a lot. I know during Passover it was a big event. They'd have a Daughters of Sarah meeting and they pretty much just go over scriptures about women, what's expected of us. I know there would be like a lot of crying and it was just this big thing where all the women were like it wasn't any men. Well, actually, it was men in there. They'd be like on security. So sometimes we talk about pretty personal things. Mind you, they're behind us.
There's a guy over there like...
Yeah, just like that.
he, and then I know when he goes home to his wife, you know what he's like? He's like, "Hey, did you want to hear about Sister Hosanna?"
I'm telling you. And to that point, so that they would always like it was always this thing like about women and gossiping. But it's so funny just like being a leadership wife, being around these men, they do more gossiping than the women. Like, and I just be sitting there like, wow, y'all really just gonna tell all their business like that. Y'all really just gonna do
Oh man.
Yeah. And to that point, I remember one time I was in St. Louis with some brothers, and we was in a hotel room with the captain. It was a few captains in there, and a captain started talking about a brother, and then the brother who still lives in Kentucky, he was with me in St. Louis at the time. He asked the captain like, "Is this gossiping?" And that's a good thing that he did that. But the captain responded and said, "I'm not gossiping. I say it to his face." So the brother that I'm talking about that was with me, he accepted that, and he was like, "Well, if he'll say it to his face, it ain't gossiping." But he actually asked him because he was concerned. That's what they do.
Wow. Oh man. Yeah, it's a lot.
especially at that leadership table after Sabbath class.
Oh yeah. Is that what happens they have a leadership table after Sabbath class?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they have she's talking about the leadership table that they sit at, like they'll gather around after the class on the Sabbath, and they'll go over scriptures, they'll start talking about different things. It may be some gossip in there. So
Gabby Judah relates to your story. I don't remember if I've talked to her. I don't know if you know her. She says, "Same. The sister's out there with the baby," and she says it was for
Yeah.
the new school funds. She's saying that's what it was for. And she says, "Proud of y'all for finally speaking out about your experience." And she said how women can't go to Camp 101, and so it sounds like she kind of knows what's going on. So thank you, Gabby, for your perspective.
Yeah, she was here in Kentucky with us. She's
Ah,
out as well.
okay, well, okay, Gabby. I hope things are going well for you and the Lord as well, and thank you for your contribution. Talking, guys. I just sent up a poll, and in the poll, I asked you to go ahead, live chat, and look at it. It says, "Do you pray in love for IUIC members and their families? Yes, sometimes. No, not yet, but I plan on it." Or "too mad / what's the point?" So be honest, fill out the poll. I'm hoping people answer the top one, but we got to be honest. There's a good chance a little kind of triage ourselves here. Okay, so Camp 101's going on. You're teaching different things. You're administering tests. But you sat yourself down and took yourself out of leadership. You still were in IUIC, but you're no longer in leadership. And it seems like that was the beginning of your eyes getting opened. Is that right?
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so I was an officer and stuff, and the main reason I took myself down is because the way we teach in IUIC is we teach with a lot of conviction, and we teach like we have like we are just completely righteous, just morally superior, we teach in a self-righteous manner. Most of the teachers, not all of the teachers, and I was one of those. I can give you an example real quick, a couple examples. I mean, I would always, a scripture that IUIC focuses on a lot is, "Let all things be done decently and in order." 1 Corinthians 14:40.
Do you have old pictures on your PC or smartphone? Then this video is for you. Nobody believed me at first, but now everybody wants one.
And I would be on brothers, you are late to Camp 101, or you are late to
Oh, look at this. Read this. Let's read this. Jesus is God, and God is Jesus. 3. I remember me and my siblings being forced to listen to IUIC videos on a loudspeaker by my parents 24/7. That's child abuse. And the men would curse, make questionable sexual jokes, Well, Nate says, I like this freaky stuff. Remember that? And degrade Christians. And degrade Christians. So they would make, it says 24/7, and the men would curse, make questionable sexual jokes, and degrade Christians.
To the Sabbath gathering, and the captain over me would all.
And that's why the best thing to do when you have your gathering, you speak, and you go your separate ways. You go home. Like I said, you don't know. There's cops. You know what I mean when I say that. There's cops in all the camps. All the camps. So you cool with a brother, you go out with a double date, not knowing that you're going out with the man and the woman that go out on a double date with you and your woman. They could be two cops working fucking together.
Always tell me, make sure brothers are on time, hold them accountable, all of that. Because we trying to build a nation and we need serious brothers and all this. So I would be on them, y'all late. It was even brothers that traveled 2 hours here from a particular city. And I would be like, you're late, and they'll be like, this is why, and I didn't accept it a lot of times, but meanwhile, behind closed.
Yeah, sometimes you get late. Sometimes you get late. The Most High knows your heart. Sometimes you get at a certain time, the next you take the same route and you run into an accident or some backed up traffic or whatever, and you get there late. So you can't, well, brother, you late. Well, brother, my car, I had a flat. That's no excuse. You should. That's cultish activity.
Closed doors, I was 10 to 20 minutes late to work every day. So things like that. Also, we were renting a rental hall before we got a school here in Kentucky, and we got it like at a discounted rate because me and the person that owned the building came to an agreement that I would buff the floors, make sure the grass was cut, keep the place clean. But guess what? I didn't make sure those things got done, so we ended up getting put out of the rental hall while I'm the officer, while I'm the leader. And it was just other little sins that I was doing, half-truths, lies, and stuff that I was telling. And, I began to feel bad. I began to feel like, well, I'm over here teaching hard and telling people what they should be doing, calling people wicked and this and that, telling the Christians that they got to keep the commandments or they're not going to go to heaven. But look at me. I might be wearing fringes, so on and so forth, might got a beard, but look at me. And so I began to feel guilty, like, man. I even questioned my salvation many times. So I decided I was going to step down out of my position until I could, figure things out.
Well, what he did was he examined himself pursuant to 2 Corinthians 13:5. So he's sincere. But what he should have did when he left, he know that he's an Israelite, he knows the scriptures, go out there on your own and teach. And maybe you'll run into somebody, then you have a small camp, and it may grow into a nice-sized camp. That's what you were supposed to do. So you threw, as the saying goes, you threw the baby out with the bathwater. You threw the whole Israelite thing in the garbage.
And get myself together. Because I took it seriously. I was like, I don't want to be leading these people astray. I took it seriously, so I stepped down. And like you said, that was the beginning of my eyes being open.
All right, we're going to get more on that. A couple comments.
So he said he stepped down himself. He made the decision to step down because he felt that he shouldn't be on that level because he's not perfect. He felt less perfect. Because they expect you. These guys, these top leader guys, they think they're perfect. They actually think they're perfect.
The 8 says, well, damn, I'm trying to log on to see Sabbath class, and this pops up. How come you sinners are not congregating? What's the answer, Salima?
Hey, we don't want to deal with cults. That's the answer.
That's a good answer. Okay. Hey, you should watch Create. You should watch this instead of Sabbath class, because Sabbath class is going to be all the time. Interviews where you have a former officer and his wife talking about their experience in IUIC. for basically 8 years, that's not as common. So stick with this. This is a little more rare and unique. So I would like to have you stick around. Lindsay says, I'm so glad the brother and the sister are free. GDM says, what part of Kentucky are we talking about? Mainly Louisville, right?
Yes, Louisville.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then somebody says, well, not wearing fringes is not a sin, but can you explain why you viewed that it was? Because someone, maybe a Hebrew Israelite themselves, Louis Yisrael, says not wearing fringes is not a sin.
Okay.
Well, fringes is part of the law. So is phylacteries. So is wearing a paddle on your side. So is wearing a weapon on your side. The side that the men wear the weapon, have the weapon on his side. They have to have the paddle next to it.
Yeah, so we were taught in IUIC that you got to wear fringes according to, I didn't forget, Numbers 15, verse 38. You know, if you start at verse 37, I think read down to verse 39. So, like, I was gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, and, you know, that was against the law to do. They couldn't gather sticks or work. And so that man was stoned, and God commanded Moses and the Israelites to wear fringes with a ribbon of blue as a reminder not to break the commandment. So that's why I did it, and that's why IUIC does it. But you're right. If you don't wear fringes, it's not a sin.
Can I ask you this? They read that passage about the person gathering sticks and being stoned in the Old Testament. Okay. How come lugging equipment around the city is not working? Now, I know the answer, but can you explain how that works, where you can't gather sticks, but you can put up portable speakers, you know, and you can plug that microphone in, and you can jump in your car. How is that?
Yeah, even you can't drive a car on the Sabbath because. Give me a second.
Yeah, hey, good question. But yeah, that's what we did on the Sabbath. That's what they do. They lug around equipment. They have to take it from the school, load it into their cars. That's camp signs. That's flyers. They hand out a bunch of flyers at camp. They got to pick up the box full of flyers. They got to get all the water coolers.
And they got to yell at people for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not a day of rest whatsoever.
It was.
I was exhausted.
What did they make you do, Salima, on the day of rest?
So for leadership wives, we would have to get to the school earlier than everybody else, prepare their meals, and then there were some sisters that taught like.
Wait a minute, prepare their meals on the Sabbath? You can't cook on the Sabbath. You can't strike a fire. That's what is it? Exodus 35:3.
The children, so they have to make sure their lesson was together before everybody got there. And then after that, once everybody arrived, we're pretty much just serving the whole time. And not to mention, like during class, you might have a baby that's crying and you might get yelled at, like, hey, take that baby out of here. So it was a lot of hard work, like especially.
Take that baby out of here. You should be happy when a baby cries. The baby's alive. Get that baby out of here. These dudes are tyrants. Let's look up the word tyrant. IUIT, Israel United in Tyrannicalism. Tyrant, meaning.
Here's the definition of tyrant: a cruel and oppressive ruler.
Natives are cruel and oppressive ruler at times. Not all the times, but at times, by these rules. You don't tell her, take that baby out of here. Take that baby. Whose baby is that? Take that baby out of here. In my Charlton Heston voice. You have heard my voice for the 3rd time. Take that baby out of here now, woman.
And then they wanted you to follow along, like in the scripture.
Only a stupid person would stay with IUIC if they had to go through this shit. And it took them 8 years to realize, yo, we're in the wrong place. Like I said, these other GMS camps, I don't know what they're doing right now. And I really don't care as long as they're consistent in doing what they got to do.
And take notes. They get on you if you didn't do that, but you have all these kids that you're trying to take care of, not just your kids, other people's kids as well. So it was definitely some hard work and not a day.
I think what they tend to say is, well, hey, we're the priests or prophets of God, and they are allowed to work on the Sabbath because they're doing God's work.
God's work.
I think that's what they basically go with. But I don't. First of all, when you talk about the priest, for example, where were they doing their work at IUIC? Inside the temple, not out on the block, walking around in their Nikes and fringes. Come on, man. Anyways.
They even bought, like, we even bought gas on the Sabbath. Like, if we were traveling to another
do
city.
Everything.
Oh, wait a minute. It says thou shalt not buy and sell. When you go to the gas station, you got to pay for the gas. That's called buying gas.
Yeah, if you was traveling to another city to do the Lord's work, to go teach in another city or something, yeah, you can fill up on, if you're getting low on gas, because you got to get there to do the Lord's work. Yeah.
Can you stop by and grab Wendy's?
Nah, you couldn't do that. But.
Okay. I just seen what.
Yeah, because you can't buy, but you can buy gas.
You had to have a packed lunch, right?
Right.
Okay. Gabby says, thank you. Kevin and Selima were my teachers when I came in. Now, Gabby, you didn't necessarily teach the youngsters. You did help in other ways. But a lot of the daughters of Sarah would teach the youngsters, right?
Yeah.
You recognize this book?
Not particularly. So I wasn't in the children's room, but I can imagine that they had something like that.
Yeah,
unless that's new, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to do you got the little word search there. You got the this is from IUIC, by the way, everybody. You get the little thing. You got the little You got the little. So this is your guys' first time seeing this. Here. Let me switch
yeah,
up.
I haven't seen that.
Here, I'm gonna show you real quick. Do a little. Got a little. Where does the precept go? You gotta know that the kids have to know that Esau precept. You see this? Genesis 25. You see they gotta know that Esau precept. How lost are you? Do the maze.
Wow.
Matthew 15:24. And then color that. Can you find where the 12 tribes are scattered now? Got let's see what else here. You got that crown. You got the spiritual leaders. Oh, look! You're gonna like this. Look, the spiritual leaders word search. Hold on. Oh man, I'm gonna tell you what it says. Yeah, you got bishop, elder, captain, deacon, officer, soldier, kings, queens, brother, sister, prophet, priest. Hey, there's one they forgot based upon the new title they've been calling Nathaniel. General. I don't know if you noticed, they've been calling him General Nathaniel.
Most High in the New Testament is dealing not with generals and pride priests and even bishops and deacons. The main teachers are apostles, prophets, teachers, pastors, evangelists.
Oh, there's Queen Esther. Oh, look at this. Where are all the schools?
Oh my God,
You can't just learn the Bible. You got to know where all the schools are. You got the little list there. You got to put little dots in there. You got the what's on your plate for the Sabbath. How should we dress? You got to put in the fringes on the little characters there. You got the little garment there. Hey, we're doing a whole IUIC kids lesson. What's this? Oh, look. Can you guess what this is? You probably can't. Over here on this
sword.
side.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a sword, though. Good call, by the way. That is a sword.
Let me guess. Is it make your own fringes?
You are very close. Make your own wristbands. You got to make your own wristbands. Yep.
I guess there's a law that you got to wear wristbands. You don't have to wear phylacteries, but you got to wear them wristbands in case somebody shoots at you. You can block them.
Decorate them. Cut them out. Add tape over the holes before you punch them out. Use string to wear them. You're going to come out. I mean, huh? Hey,
I guess that's my stance for him.
Here's my favorite thing. Can you guess what you have to do on this exercise?
Yeah, do the same thing, like draw the same thing on the other side to make a chariot, a quote-unquote chariot.
Yeah, hey, let's get some sound effects for that. Hold on. I got something for you, okay?
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Oh, they're gonna be so mad about this.
Man.
Hey, we have hair like Christ, but
Another damn commercial.
that's not exactly. That's. Hopefully they got a new artist. That's all I want to say. Because hopefully the new bike's gonna say. Anyways, the 7 heads and the 10 horns.
Which they got wrong. They say Russia's one of the heads. That's wrong. Russia is not a part of any part of the beast. Separate entity.
Spain, Greece, Roman, Great Britain. Okay, well, I'll put. That's okay. Was that a bringing? See what you guys missed by leaving? Do you see what you missed?
Man, I'm so glad my kids don't have to learn that jacked up curriculum. Man.
Oh my goodness.
So, just based on what he just said, he doesn't believe he's not an Israelite. He's not an Israelite. Babylon the Great is not the U.S. Spaceships are not coming to deliver us out of here. Armageddon is not going to take place. Everybody's going to be in the kingdom. And he would not go to another. He damn sure. And they talk bad about GMS and IUCPK, so he ain't going to get with the GMS or the ISUPK or any other group. Zakari for that matter.
Are your kids learning now? You guys are actually plugged into a healthy, well-balanced church in the Louisville area. You don't have to give all the details.
Okay, so they went to a church. They went back to being a Christian. Let me go to that in the scriptures. Then I'm going to cut this. I may come back and do a part 2 to this. We got a lot of information from the former IUIC members. Where they say, let me see. I'm sorry, Second Peter 2, and I'm going to go to the NLT. The hell did I just do? Do it again. Okay. 2 Peter 2. NLT. Let me 22nd is what I want. And when people escape from the wickedness of the world by knowing our Lord and Savior Yahushua HaMashiach, and then get tangled up and enslaved by sin again, go to the Christian church, they are worse off than before. 21st verse, it would be better if they had never known the way to righteousness than to know it and then reject the command they were given to live a holy life. According to IUIC, they're going to burn in hell, which there's no such thing as hell. 22, they prove the truth of this proverb. A dog returns to its vomit, and another says, a washed pig returns to the mud. So they started off as Christians, and then they got to Israel and they went back to being Christians. Come on back. Listen to a little bit more, and I'm out of here.
But Salima, can you tell me a little bit about now, 2025?
Yes, so we go to a really good church, filled with all races of people. There's no pressure, hey, do this. Now there are ways to serve, but you're not pressured to do it. It's a your own will type of thing. You don't get ridiculed for.
So that means everything that they knew about Israel, they threw that all in the garbage. They threw it all in the garbage. We don't want to hear nothing about Israel. We're not Israelites. The Israelites is the white people and so forth. So they're doomed. They're not going to make it. They're going to wind up taking a microchip, and they're going to die here in America. So you didn't take the lead as a man. 8 years. That 8 years. Was it 365, 1,000? What is that? 2,000 plus, almost 3,000 days of being, knowing that you're an Israelite, to throw all that stuff in, all that time. You wasted 8 years of your life to come back and go back to being a Christian.
Or for not doing a particular thing. Everybody's very kind, and I don't feel like I'm being yelled at all the time. So yeah, it's a breath of fresh air.
So if you don't do what the leadership of the IUIC, and the women do that too, even Gina Blue had mentioned that, oh, well, when you wear that scarf, you can't have hair showing from the scarf. You got to cover that, all your hair. They're not supposed to see your hair. But then there was these sisters that been in the school longer, you can see locks of their hair. So, like I said, did I read it? It's in Matthew 23 when it says they swallow a camel and they strain at a gnat.
And guys, I know the place that they go, and I even know a person or two there, and they're at no place is perfect, we already know that, but they're at a healthy, well-balanced place that teaches good doctrine with some really good people doing some good stuff for the community. And I know it was definitely a transition, but you guys stuck with it, and it's beautiful to see. Now, Kevin, when you were in IUIC, if you could think back, what did you think of the future? What were your future plans versus now? What do you think now when you think of the future and future plans? Can you compare and contrast that a little bit?
Yeah. In IUIC, my future was really, honestly, just trying to dedicate myself to that church, begin to travel more, raise my kids in it, and just get them to, understand that doctrine and do the same thing that I'm doing. In IUIC, like one thing they would say about your kids, they would say your kids are your avengers. And, avenger meaning they're going to avenge you of your enemies. So by us teaching our children IUIC doctrine, they're avenging the oppressor for teaching, that the prophets were white, or teaching water baptism. So now by us teaching our children, that you don't got to be baptized, because that's what they say.
I also fell for this deception last year. It has many red flags, but why do people have to deny the divinity of Jesus, the white man, to be counted? In virgin birth, Trinity doesn't make sense. What is it? What does it say? Virgin birth, Trinity.
contrary to what the quote unquote oppressors teaching, we are causing them to be our avengers. So that was pretty much my vision, is to have my wife and my kids to just continue IUIC doctrine and all of that. But now it's the exact opposite. I mean, it's to raise my children in the Lord, to get.
IUIC makes the law of Moses unrecognizable. They never realized why God commanded those laws. He told the Israelites to wear them because in looking at them, they would be reminded to obey his laws. I guess he's talking about the fringes.
Get them to understand how to be saved, of what Jesus did for them, dying for them. I mean, like every day is a lesson. Like we read the scriptures to them before they go to bed, teach them to pray, and they are very mindful of the Lord. They even correct me sometimes. You know, all type of stuff is really amazing. But that's my.
So these two are lost, and if unless they're elect and they come into the true truth, but if they continue in this Christianity, they're gonna wind up taking a microchip, because all these churches are gonna push to take that microchip. Anybody that bucks up against it and says, "Oh, that's the mark of the beast," they're gonna say, "No, it's not." I believe the authorities will have certain classes for 501c type churches, established churches. They're going to be told how to present it to the church in case any church members say, "Well, that's the mark of the beast." They're going to show them how to, you know, be slick about it.
My vision is just that they can grow up and live lives dedicated to the Lord.
Okay, welcome. IUIC stands for Israel United in Christ. It's a particular Hebrew Israelite group.
What about you, Salima? What do you think when you think of the future versus what it was back then?
So really, so as far as like in IUIC, the future would look like me serving my husband, serving the quote unquote men of God, being hopeful that Kevin would rise up to be like maybe a captain one day, and just like be over the school, because secretly every woman in IUIC, they want their husband to be of the highest rank.
Yeah, this bullshit. And this look like a Jake right here. Jesus Christ. The Bible never stated Christ has woolly hair. It states Christ has hair white like wool. Yeah, it was the color of white. It was two things. It was the color of white, and it was the texture of wool. And he says in what is that? In St. John 14, it said, "I look just like my Father, in the appearance of my Father, or the likeness of my Father." When Daniel saw the Heavenly Father, the Ancient of Days, it said he had hair of wool. Now they say, well, that represents holiness. Yeah, okay, it could represent that, but what did he see? He saw a man with woolly hair. Whether it represented righteousness or whatever, he saw a man with woolly. He said he saw a man on a throne with a white garment on. Well, the white garment, if the white garment represents pure white, represent righteousness, which it does. Was he wearing a garment? Yes. Was it a man? Yes, as opposed to a woman. Was it a boy? No. Was it a snake? No. Was it a lion? No. Did it have woolly hair? It had woolly hair. So guess what? Who has woolly hair on the planet Earth? So-called people of color. Black people, so-called. So if God, the Most High, came down in the form of a man, which was a vision, he would come down as a so-called black man. If he embodied himself from the spirit into the body, he would come down as a black man. This is why you don't talk to these clown-ass, bugged-out Christians. They're all bug-outs.
But as far as now, like, I'm just grateful that we're no longer there. I'm grateful that we're still together, because a lot of people that we know, like, that were in IUIC, they're no longer with their spouse. Like, it's torn their families apart. So being grateful for that, and just
Hey everyone, Ryan from Hanks Belts here. Hey, I just wanted to show you real quick two of my favorite belts in the line. Montana Bison belt.
Continuing to teach our children the true love of God, and teaching them about, as they get older, about the Israelites and even other cults, so they don't fall victim to it.
Let's talk a little about some of that family stuff. First, I want to ask, or just put up a few questions from the live chat. Sister Sandy says, my sister is in this, and she went to KFC with us, and she couldn't pay because it was a Sabbath, but she didn't mind us buying it for her. LOL, she ain't good. That's so funny. That's pretty funny. Gabby says women didn't have a future. Our life revolved around the husband. It is interesting, though, your goals before were all internal to the group versus now I think your goals are sort of bigger past just internal to the group, you know? A bigger picture of life. Gospel Truth, shout out to Marlon. How you doing? It's great to see you, brother. Very good to see you as well. And thank you for John 3:16 for a few of these super chats as well. I see you, John 3:16. Real quick question. Salima No Salt asks, is it true that women can only shop once a month or on a certain day?
No, not that I've heard of. No.
Okay. Officer 1000 Marai Yahala says, should have been in the IUIC. Maybe he just got here because that's the whole point that you were in the IUIC. Okay, so when you were in there, are there relationships that you saw get destroyed or fall apart, not due to as much previously existing things, but more where you could say this is part because of the IUIC doctrine or practice? What kind of things did you see that you could share regarding that, if any? You know, the relationships and how IUIC affected relationships, especially those who were maybe not in the group, especially marriages, things like that.
For me, inside of IUIC, there's always new people coming in. And I can remember a couple. She was like a ballet dancer, and he was an artist. And I just thought they were like the cutest thing ever. Like, just looking at them like, yeah, they're good for each other. They weren't married at the time, but when they joined IUIC, they got married. And just like seeing how their relationship went on after getting married, it's like the happiness left. Like, she could no longer be a ballet dancer, like things like that. I don't know. It's just something that I think about.
That's tough. Any other examples? What about maybe with family members? Not necessarily yours per se, but other people's family members or anything like that? When people would talk that you kind of said, man, I don't know about that. Kevin, Salima?
Well, from my perspective, I had my best friend, he's white. And so I guess this is relevant to your question. Before I came into IUIC, we went to each other's churches. He had an all-white church in which at first I felt uncomfortable in. And he came to my all-black church. And we just, handed out biblical literature to random people together. We did all of that, played ball together. And then I just, like our relationship slowly faded. And he pretty much got the idea that we couldn't be friends. I was just showing him that Jesus is black, that only Israel can be saved. And I pretty much told him that we couldn't be friends. So it really affected our relationship. We stopped being friends for about 8 years. But after I left IUIC, I got back in contact with him, and he forgave me and said he never stopped praying for me. I love him. He still would have died for me. So it definitely affected our relationship. But he knew that I would come out of it.
Praise God. Wow. Well, that's a beautiful thing to hear, and that's important for you guys listening. I run into people sometimes and they kind of give up on people and stuff like that. Don't give up on people. Don't give up on people, guys. You gotta keep on keeping on. And It looks like we got a couple pastors in the live chat. That's good. And we have another former Hebrew Israelite in the live chat, servant of Christ. He was with a group called BOCC out of Atlanta, Georgia. BOC, not GOCC, but a different group called BOCC. And it looks like the officer of 1,000 was actually saying ISUPK. They messed up. And so I guess they were saying you should have been an ISUPK. It's kind of funny they typed the wrong thing, though. D says, in these Israelite groups, the women have to ask for permission to speak straight. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know this comment. I don't know about that. Here, here's a comment I wanted to ask. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Did you ever have to sleep on the floor because you were on your cycle?
If your neck looks like this, you need to watch this video. When you sit at your desk or use your phone, your head protrudes forward. And for every inch your head protrudes forward, an additional 10 pounds of force is added to the neck.
What is this, the 8th commercial?
No.
That was not a thing. Did you have to be locked or in a room?
No.
You were allowed to just free reign?
Yes.
I have seen the IUIC videos with the thumbnail that say, stop at the red light.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the live chat understands what's going on there.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead.
I did want to say real quick, I know of a brother's marriage when we were in IUIC. He divorced his wife and he married a sister in IUIC. That was in Kentucky camp. I know of somebody for sure.
See, that's just... Can't say you're for the community if you're out here destroying marriages like that, you know. Okay, now you're not in leadership anymore, but that enables you to start noticing some things with the doctrine, and also how leadership is treated different. I remember one thing that, it was a small thing, but you said how when you would have meetings, leadership would get served first, and they have the plastic plates and everyone else has the styrofoam. What were the things that you noticed when you were out of leadership that some other things that kind of started getting you out slowly?
Well, you know, it was that, I mean, it would just be things like y'all already know, how they talk to their readers or how they talk to IT. You know, after I wasn't in leadership, I started reading for the teachers and stuff. And they would kind of get aggravated with me, like if I lost my spot or if I just wasn't reading good that day, you know, I was struggling or something. And they just kind of say stuff a certain way, and I'm just like, man, this is crazy. Stuff like that would irritate me. I just noticed a lot of pride. A lot of them trying to mimic Nathaniel, because that's literally all it comes down to. They just try to mimic the upper leadership to impress them and be just like them. So I noticed that. I'm like, these guys are really trying to be just like these cats.
Because they're not, most of them are not intellect. Some of them are. They ass kissers. You learn how to be a supreme ass kisser.
And it just rubbed me the wrong way. And then also, you know, in 2018, that's when a lot of the higher up IUIC leadership left. And videos started coming out about different sin going on in IUIC, which eventually led to me leaving and stuff. And I started watching Judah Mack a lot. He was teaching things about how water baptism is still expected of us, you know, because IUIC.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You can do it, but you don't have to do it. That's just symbolic. Go to Ephesians. What is that? Ephesians 5. Be washed through the word. That's in Ephesians chapter 5. So he's going off on that. You don't got to get baptized in water. The water baptism is baptizing through the water is the word.
He says we don't have to be water baptized. You know, they say water baptism is only repentance, and that's what he meant when he said go and baptize. And so, hearing that.
So these two people are messed up. When I said, like I said, when that prophecy come to pass concerning the MOTB, which you heard it first exclusively from GMS, we constantly put videos up on that because that's the next big major prophecy before the deliverance and the destruction of the kingdom come.
And seeing the scene that transpired in IUIC as a result of the videos that came out in 2018 really helped me to see that I was in a cult. And like I said, that baptism doctrine, after that, I started looking into other stuff and realizing that the doctrine was false. And if you want me to elaborate more, I can.
Yes, but Salima, let me ask you this. Were you glad when he stepped down from leadership, or were you kind of disappointed?
I was embarrassed, if I'm speaking honestly. It was embarrassing because at the time, like when he stepped down, like I was still fully like all IUIC, like this is the truth. And so I'm like, dang, my man, he doesn't have rank anymore. Like, and so it was.
It's about status with these people. So he saw that this wasn't. He saw that this is something not right, and she was with it. If he would have stayed, she would have stayed. It's not for women. This is for men.
Kind of embarrassing, honestly.
How did you stop feeling that way, though? What was that transition?
So around that time, like when that happened, I would literally have to tell myself, like, you're not here for because your husband's a leadership. You're here to like follow God and keep the commandments. So that's what I would tell myself to make myself feel better about it. But it was embarrassing because like he was the head of the camp, and to just be like a brother now, like had to wear a black shirt. It was pretty.
Oh, you went down to the black shirts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no IUIC on it, no candelabra, nothing like that. Just the black. You a black shirt now, nigga. This is all about status and kissing ass.
And he blacked me out, bro.
You went all the way down.
Yeah.
What's the name of that group, the where they wear the black shirts? What's the name of that? Because sometimes I joke and I call them the Rookie Brigade, but I know the Rookie Brigade's not the name. What's the name?
Brothers, right?
Just brothers.
You talking about a camp?
No. I'm saying like there's
What's
officers.
the rank?
What? Isn't there a name for the folks who only get to wear the black? I thought there was a name.
Brothers.
Just brothers.
Just
Okay.
brothers. Yeah.
Okay, because that's all they. That's their. So you wait, because doesn't it go like?
Hey, this is why when Bishop Nate, he comes up with something new, none of the leadership will attack him on it because they don't want to get demoted. When the hell doctrine came about 2.5, 3 years ago, when he started teaching that there's an actual hell and Israelites, none of them bucked up against it. They probably thought about it. He said, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm not going to say nothing because I don't want to be a black shirt. So it's all about being on the, how can I say this? It's all about rank and status with these people. If Bishop Nate, when the prophecy of the MOT become to pass, he said it's a Michael C. Hip, don't take it. Guess what? They'll all see it at the same time.
Brother and then soldier.
Mm-hmm. The officer 10, officer 20, officer 50. Then they might have a special rank officer in there, like an officer at 80 or officer at 90. Then it'll be like a captain.
That's not in the scriptures. Yeah, it's in the scriptures. It said officers 10s, officers 50s, officers 100s. I don't even think there's officers of 1,000. But you got officers of 10, 10s, 50s, 100s.
Captain of 100. I think it's I was watching a video the other day. Somebody's a captain of 700. So yeah.
Why couldn't you just been a soldier? Why did you go all the way down to brother?
I stepped down. I didn't want to be a leader at that point at all. I was good.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think it was better. Obviously, it's better. It's good. It was good in the long run. So, how did you two become born again Christians? How did you, where you repent, your eyes are open? How did this exactly happen? What was the process for you? Maybe Selena, if you could share yours, and then Kevin, how did that? Because what's the turning point here where you kind of remember?
Right. So after we watched those videos, and in the process of us actually leaving, Kevin was like doing a lot of studying about the new moon, if women can wear pants. And so at the time, like I'm just kind of sitting back and following his lead. And he started bringing me scriptures, and we would read for ourselves instead of watching like the videos of any Israelite group. We just started reading the Bible on our own. And he pretty much already had a foundation in Christianity and, you know, reading the Bible. Like I never really read the Bible for myself, especially being.
Yeah, well, most people, women just follow. They follow. You go to the gym, men go and hit the weights and do their own routines, and women, they'll join the class and follow after another woman or man. So the same thing when it comes to this truth, women just pretty much follow. Who's the leader? Let me follow him. So what he did was he said his spirit wasn't right. He said, "Nah, I don't want to even be a leader." So he did. That was a very gallant thing to do, but he's not of the elect.
Being raised Muslim, like my grandmother was Christian. We would go to church sometimes, but I never really like dove into the Bible for myself. And so after like doing all these readings on our own, Kevin was just like, "Hey, let's go to church. Let's find us a church to go to." And I know he would also talk to this guy that he used to actually debate about Christianity and the Israelites. And he was really God sent because he helped us along the way to transition from being Israelites into going back to church.
Oh, praise.
You went from the frying pan to the fire. Anyway, I stopped at 104:27, 104:27, and I may or may not come back and finish it. But you know, this is why Nate was so mad last night. You're going on show, giving all our secrets out, you damn demons. Like I said, like I've been saying, watch what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to do with the IUIC. The Most High is bringing them down. And if there's elect among them, which I believe there are, my personal belief, that they're going to come out of that, man. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom, on to the next. Shalom.